Hi everyone, I'm David Feiner with City Channel Pittsburgh. I don't know if you've heard the news, but it is Pittsburgh's 200th birthday this year. And part of the celebration is a display here in the City County Building lobby, which includes a lot of historic artifacts and items. Right now I'm with the City Clerk, Mary Beth Doheny. Mary Beth, thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me. It's a great honor.
So I understand that history is a passion of yours. Can you explain why that is?
Well, I would say you cannot work for the city government for 36 years and work in the office of the city clerk, which is the official record keeper for the city, and not have a passion. I can't say that history was my best subject when I was growing up, but I have truly learned to love everything about the office of the clerk and what it represents for the city. And as we put on this historic exhibit, you'll see why history has grabbed at me.
So what we like to do in this program is go around to these cases that are here in the lobby and talk about some of the things that are in the cases. So here we are at this first case. Can you talk about what's in here?
Yes, this is exhibit case number 1, and what is in this case, it includes the original Select Council minute book, the Common Council minute book, and the first ordinance book dating back to 1816. So these books are handwritten, and they are a true treasure of the city. And when the city began its incorporation on March 18th, 1816, we had a bifurcated system, a two-tier council, until 1911, when council was changed to a single form, 9 elected at large. But these books are handwritten, cursive, and they're absolutely valuable. And as part of the city's bicentennial, the Archive Service Center for the University of Pittsburgh has digitized these books. So there are many, many records throughout the city. Imagine a 200-year history, and they have not all been digitized yet. So we are beginning the phases of making all these books accessible to the residents. And here we have a print of Ebenezer Denny, who served as the first ever mayor of the city. It was very short term. He was the mayor from 1816 to 1817, but nonetheless, that is where the city began its roots as a city.
Do you have an estimate of how long it will take to digitize these records?
Actually, if you have the right equipment, these few books were done within a week, and it was done pro bono by the Archive Service Center. But understand that the city clerk's office has volumes and volumes of books, and throughout the whole city there are photographs and maps of bridges and neighborhoods as they began. And so it's not a simple answer. It's a very long-term project and a very costly project.
Awesome. Well, let's go head over to the next case.
Certainly.
All right, Mary Beth, here we are at the second case. What are we looking at in here?
All right, David, what we have here is an original hand-drawn map of the city of Pittsburgh dating back to 1816. And this map is held at the University of Pittsburgh Archive Service Center because it's the only original. And alongside that, we have a drawn map, so it's a little easier to understand, and it focuses on the point of the city, Fort Pitt. Now, this case was very large, and we needed a little color, so we added some books here. And these books actually are a nice companion to this map, because Pittsburgh, the Story of an American City by Stephen Loran, is a book about the places and events of the city as our birth began and as we expanded. The other book, The Point of Pittsburgh by Charles McCollister, is all about the people of Pittsburgh, the Native American Indian, as we went through the labor and the industrial age, through the politicians. So it's a nice mix of the roots of our city and how we expanded.
Have you read these books?
I have not, I have to admit. It's on my bucket list, thank you.
Okay, all right, so let's head over to the next case.
Okay.
So Mary Beth, during the birthday celebration on March 18th, this was the big reveal. What is this?
This is actually the act of incorporation of the city of Pittsburgh dated March 18th, 1816. Now, the state active assembly decided to make Pittsburgh a city. Prior to that, we were a borough. So when we were doing our research for the bicentennial less than a year ago, it was discovered that the act of incorporation was housed in the state because that is where a city applies for its charter. The act of incorporation had been folded up for 200 years. So it needed to be conserved. And through the efforts and the partnership of the Heinz History Center, who served as custodian to get the document on loan, and the University of Pittsburgh Library System, we had a quality reproduction made. The original was on file on the incorporation day only, and this is a reproduction. And it's interesting because there was an original ribbon that was tied to the 25-page document, and the ribbon was so brittle that when they were conserving it, they had concern. We have on display the first page and the signature page, but as I mentioned, it is 25 pages long, and it will be housed in the city government for the general public if they want to come and see it.
One of the things I noticed about the Incorporation Day celebration is when this was revealed, when the black cover was taken off, the almost gasp of the crowd seeing something that actually started Pittsburgh. Did you have that same feeling, a gasp?
I absolutely did. The whole day was amazing. It made everybody that was involved and everybody that has been a resident or will be a resident so proud to be a part of a city that started so humbly. Horse and buggy and carriage, that's most of what our record books talk about, creating streets. And then we lived through the industrial age and the steel industry and the collapse of the steel industry, and we've reinvented ourselves again as the Eds and Meds. So, you know, we have such a rich history, and there's so much documentation that needs to be shared that it's been a privilege to work with all of the different partners in this project.
All right, well, let's head over to the next case. All right, at this case, we have a very special guest, the Deputy City Clerk, Kim Clark-Baskin. Kim, we have a lot of books in here. Can you tell us what this display is about?
Sure, David. In this display case here, it's just a sampling of the many books that are housed within the city clerk's office from the many different communities and boroughs that are located within the city of Pittsburgh. These books are original, they are handwritten, and they detail a lot of, they give a lot of information about a lot of the neighborhoods that make up the city of Pittsburgh. And behind you is the annexation map of the different communities within the city of Pittsburgh, and it gives dates of when they were added to be a part of the city. As well, these books here, like I said, are just a small sampling of what is housed in the city clerk's office, and I just brought, I'll read just a couple of the neighborhood minute and ordinance books that we do have housed on the 5th floor in the clerk's office. We have the Carrick Borough Minute books, as well as the ordinance and resolution books for Carrick. We have the Chartiers Township ordinance books. We have the East Birmingham Borough Ordinance and Minutes book. And we also have Esplin Borough, Knoxville Borough, Overbrook Borough, Sheridan, St. Clair Township, Union Township, West Liberty, and the city of Allegheny. Of course, a lot of those boroughs and townships that I did mention have been renamed since they were founded within the city of Pittsburgh. So we definitely hold a lot of knowledge upstairs in the clerk's office relative to the communities, and hopefully, you know, those watching, if you want to learn more, if they want to learn more about their different community that's in the city, they can come on down, and I'm sure that we have the information that they're looking for.
Thank you, Kim. We're going to go to the next case and talk more with Mary Beth. All right, Mary Beth, here we are at the final case. Can you tell us what, these are actually some interesting looking items. What are some of these things?
This is one of my favorite exhibits, and ironically, this was not put in the program when it went to print because we had not envisioned what would be in the extra case that the Heinz History Center brought to us. But I had spent some time looking through some very old file folders in the clerk's office, and we had a folder that had the seal of the city of Pittsburgh in it. And this seal was actually adopted on March 15th of 1816, and it has been in place since that time. And the city uses the seal kind of like a coat of arms. It dates back to William Pitt and the city's roots, and it includes a castle which was very indicative of that era. And we have with it one of the original seals of the city that we currently still use today to make proclamation covers. So this really is the beginning, and alongside that, in the clerk's office, we had stumbled across an ordinance many years ago that we kind of just tucked aside, and we knew we would use it for an exhibit later. It had read that it designated the colors of the flag of the city. And it wasn't until the week of the exhibit that we climbed way up high on the ladder in our vault and pulled the ordinance itself. And what we found was that Ordinance number 318 of 1899 designated the colors of the flag of the city to be black and gold. Most people think black and gold is indicative of our sports teams, and truly it is. But the roots really started with the flag and a pennant and the emblem of the city. And the ordinance actually has the ribbon stapled. And it made us very excited because we thought about the 200-year-old ribbon that was on the Articles of Incorporation, and this ribbon is over 100 years old. So we have the handwritten book that describes the flag along with the actual ordinance itself that is signed by the mayor. And with that, we also have the original seal here, a beautiful painted print, which is always on file in the city clerk's office. So this was an add-on, but it turned out to be one of the more interesting exhibits.
So this ribbon here that's stapled to the paper there, that is the whole reason for this show. I don't know if you realize that, because when you and I were talking during Incorporation Day, the glint in your eye, it was a little brighter when we were talking about that. So that's the whole reason for this. And I think that all of this together is a fantastic display of the history of Pittsburgh, and having it out in the public, letting people see it up close rather than behind a door, is really nice. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to walk us through this and show us everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's been a great opportunity, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Commission on City Archives has been meeting for about a year to talk about all of the amazing historic records all over the city. And the fact that the city has so many treasures provides an amazing opportunity for the public to come down and see this in person if they have a chance, but also for the foundation community and for philanthropists to get involved and maybe provide some sponsorship funding so that we can begin to digitize more of our records so that the general public has access to the records. You know, it's great to have all of these originals, but if they're not in a format that's accessible to college students and historians all over the city, it's not doing us any good. So I hope that this exhibit and this anniversary opens up the door for bigger and better things in the future. Today's records become tomorrow's history.
That's correct.
Correct.
Well, Mary Beth, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for doing this. Stay tuned to City Channel Pittsburgh, as we'll be bringing you more coverage of the Bicentennial and events surrounding the Bicentennial. I'm David Feiner. We'll see you next time.